Hey everybody, it's been a while. Welcome back to React Court. We're actually sorted by the top posts of the month right now. Would you look at that? Because it's been since Labor Day, at least. Well, since the week before Labor Day, when I was able to do some React Court. Last week, I naively thought, after a lifetime of not really interfacing much with AAA games, I thought the Deathloop would change that for me. The week before that was Labor Day. I took that time off. So we're back here. I'm not insulting Deathloop, okay? I'm not trying to be rude. Okay. Let's take a look at this. I'm happy to be back. By the way, take a deep dive into many common software architecture patterns, and it's free. Our gift to you. This is O'Reilly Software Architecture Patterns. Available now at get.o'reilly.com/free_ebook. What a URL. Okay. Am I the asshole for calling the police on my flatmate kid knocking on my door? This is one of those times I believe I need a British or Australian translator. A mate is a friend. A flat is an apartment. What is a flatmate kid? It's a friend of yours who's two-dimensional? It's a roommate's... Oh, on my roommate's child? I was making a joke. I thought maybe this was someone in their apartment complex that was like knocking on their door. It's their roommate's child. Okay. Let's check it out. Am I the asshole for calling the police on my flatmate kid? Disclaimer, not in the USA. Not in the USA. I, F22, live in a shared house with the landlord and his two sons, and a woman and her daughter. Is it, by any chance, do they all have hair of gold, like their mother, the youngest one in curls? This is a joke about the Brady Bunch. I apologize. Yesterday, the landlord plus his kids were away visiting some family, and the other woman works a crazy schedule. I was sleeping in my room when I woke up by the kids screaming like crazy at about 2 a.m. I figured the mother was not home, so I put on my headphones, but in a few minutes she was banging on my door, still screaming and crying. Okay, let's start. That sucks. That sucks. That's not a nice situation. That's a bit of a toxic living situation. I panicked thinking something horrible was going on outside, so I shut myself in my room's bathroom and called the police. They could hear the screaming on the call, so they came very quickly. All right, that is probably what I would describe as a little bit of an overreaction. An 8-year-old child that you are familiar with is screaming and banging on your door. Your response was to lock yourself in the bathroom and call the police? So you, I'm not trying to argue because this is like a self-driving car situation, but it's like, I'm not saying you have to give up your life to protect your landlord's child. All I'm saying is you are the steward of the child's safety in the situation, whether you should be there or not. The fact that you got so scared of the situation they were in, you locked yourself in the bathroom and called the police is at the very least a little funny. It's a little humorous. They heard the screaming, so they came very quickly. Turns out the kid had a nightmare and was really scared, and the paramedics had to put some medicine in her to calm her down. Then the police asked me a lot of questions, and I explained our living situation. Did I know where the mother was? I told them I was not aware the kid was alone because the mother has a crazy schedule. I provided her phone number, but they couldn't reach her, so they took the kid to the police station. I went back to sleep and woke up by the mother banging on my door and screaming at me for what happened yesterday. She said the police won't give her daughter back and I'm an asshole for calling them for something as silly as a nightmare. I should have just calmed the kid down instead of making it a huge deal. I told her it's not my responsibility to take care of her daughter. I barely interact with any of them, and I was not going to open my door to someone screaming like crazy because it could be dangerous. I think it was the right choice to call the police, but I told the situation to my mother, and she says either way I should have checked on the kid because sharing a house also means helping out with this kind of thing. Okay, this story is sad, but also kind of... I can't get over her hearing a kid screaming and then just going to the bathroom with her headphones in and being like, Tobey Maguire. I missed the part where that's my problem. Let me just say first, this definitely seems like, I don't know if I would feel comfortable saying everybody sucks here, but this situation sucks for everybody here. Can we flip that script around? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 people living in this house that range from 8 to old enough to have 2 sons. Likely, it's a bit of a strange situation, okay? One family, a landlord and 2 sons, a woman and her daughter, and then just one random, unrelated 22-year-old. That's just a very unusual living situation. I feel like you don't see too much. It seems like this person is already put in a toxic spot, and I have some sympathy for them for that. Hey, Mertzy, thank you. I guess, look, I don't know what to say about this one. Do I think that this person did what they should have done in that situation? No. If you hear an 8-year-old child screaming, like, I kind of feel like even if it's a stranger's child, the adult thing to do is be like, hey, what's wrong? And if you get killed, you just kind of hope that there's like a heaven, because whatever you've done in your life, sacrificing your life to like make sure that a child is safe, it would get you through the pearly gates, IMO. And then then you could just haunt the person who killed you if that's how it happened. But if it's somebody you know, especially, I think that's like an extra obligation, right? Like, I'm not saying this person is taking like the ultra libertarian approach of like, sorry, sister, you're 8 years old and your mom went to work. Now you enjoy being self-reliant. I'm not saying that they're taking that opinion. I'm just saying, I think that when you have an awareness of this child when they're a part of your life, you have more of a, if not an obligation, at least more of an incentive to be like, hey, what's going on? Like, at least talk to the kid through the door or something. I wouldn't want to be in this situation either. It's very uncomfortable. That being said, I don't think I'm comfortable saying that they're an asshole for this. I feel like this is one of those things. You ever hear the expression that shit rolls downhill? Like, if we're trying to track shit zero, the first shit that made everything else shitty, you got to go like a ways up the situation here, right? This person that called the police, I don't think they took the first shit. So who took the first shit? Well, the mom's got weird hours, and that makes it impossible for her to be there for her kid. Okay, but her mom probably didn't willfully take this position that has weird hours, So, like, how the heck did this happen? And all of a sudden, you're going back to, like, Adam Smith or something like that. You're going back to like the dawn of modern economics. You're going back to the first caveman who exchanged like some nuts for some meats. Like, I don't know how far back you're going here. I would say, here's what I would say. Okay, this is a new one for me. We're starting a positive situation. Like, this is novel. It's an everyone sucks here, but I also think you're not the asshole for sucking, because this just seems like a chaotic situation where people are going to act in an unpredictable fashion. So I think OP acted in a strange fashion, in a fashion that was somewhat inappropriate, but also understandable given the amount of chaos that's afoot here. This is one of the most divided posts I've ever seen. 40% not the asshole, 32% you're the asshole, 25% everybody sucks here. That's almost 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. That's crazy. Let me see what's going on here. If I had to read like a Redditor through my mind with ESP in advance, I guarantee like this is top post is, why wasn't the mom there? It's the mom's responsibility. I find it odd your immediate response to hearing a crying child is to lock yourself up and call the police without even attempting to check on the child. Yeah, it's not your kid and not your responsibility, and the mother obviously shouldn't have left your child home alone, but damn, that's some really selfish behavior. I want to say you're the asshole, but I have to lean more towards everybody sucks here. Mother's in the wrong for leaving her kid solo, but you're definitely wrong for not even checking on the kid and taking care of yourself. Based, this is a based result. User received gold for this post. Upvotes, really? For all those saying, oh, wait, what the heck? For all those saying they use crying kids to trap women for sex trafficking, OP literally said it's a shared house that they all live in, and she knew it was her roommate's kid. Is that true? That's the kind of look. That's the kind of stuff. I don't mean to be rude, but like my grandma posted on Facebook. She'll post something that's like, if you see duct tape on your car door handle, run in the opposite direction. It's a common human trafficking scam where while you rip the duct tape off your door handle, they grab you and take you away. It happens all the time. And I'm like, Grandma, come on. That's not going to go down at the Cataraqui Town Center. Come on. I mean, I'm not saying it's never happened. All I'm saying is it's not happening like outside of the Moxies on Gardner's Road, okay? Plus, I would just, if you put duct tape on my door, it wouldn't matter to me because the Bugatti Veyron doors are actually, they're gull wings. So I don't have to use the handle. I have keyless entry, and then they go thunk. Anybody tries to human traffic me, they're getting uppercutted by the Bugatti door. Anyway, I mean, this is not an insane, it's an insane story in the way that they reacted, but it's more like, I can't put myself in their shoes, right? If I lived in, let's call it like, you know, like a duplex environment, and I heard a child screaming, and it was my neighbor's kid, I would go and be like, hey, what's wrong? Because that the responsibility is inherited by me in that situation. If I was 22 years old and I lived with my landlord and their two kids, and then a random lady and her kid as well, and then it was 2 a.m, and I just heard, ah, ah! I probably wouldn't have locked myself in the bathroom. I think I would have tweeted first. I would have been like, check this out. What the, if I die, please avenge me, Twitter. But I can understand that if I put myself in her shoes, I might react in a different way because this seems like a very chaotic situation. So more power to her, I guess. But it sucks. I mean, really, like, it sucks for the kid, man. She can't get her kid back from the police. Yeah, but that, like, okay, that's not really, like, the 22-year-old's fault. That's kind of like the police's fault. Or like Tobey Maguire, I missed the part where that's my problem. Like, that's between the police and the mom, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I think if you are like, hey, the cops won't give me my kid back, and it's your fault because you called them, there's like a self-report in there. That is like, hey, thanks for calling the police on my negligence. Now, as a result of you ratting on my negligence, I'm facing punishment for my actions. But anyway, the timeouts. It happens every time. It's just the classic. I don't even know what they said. I'm not like going in on them. I'm just saying. That's what happens. Oh, I know what it is. Yeah. It's the filter. Okay, it's not mods. It's the filter. Okay, we're going back here. We're going back. Interesting start. A lot of asshole ones right off the bat. Oh, man. I'm just scrolling down a little. Check this out. Am I the asshole for telling my stepson's Bumble date that she should focus on her career and children rather than dating men like my stepson? Oh, man. Oh, it's been a good month, huh? For my whole life, I never... Okay, sorry. Am I the asshole for freaking out at my mom after finding out who my biological father is? For my whole life, I never knew who my biological father was. My mom and family have always been super secret. Recently, my mom decided to tell me as I just turned 16 and she felt I was old enough to know. She sat me down in the living room and told me my bio dad was her ex-stepfather, aka my grandmother and her ex-husband. AKA my grandmother's ex-husband? My grandmother's ex-husband is my dad? I'm just picturing it in a diagram form. Okay. I felt extremely disgusted and disappointed and said, "Why? No wonder Grandma hates being around you. You couldn't keep your legs closed long enough to keep away from Grandma's husband." Look, this can't be real. I, I believe that this story could take place, but there is no way that as soon as she heard the news, she just owned her mom like that. There's no chance. I don't believe that you would just and then again, that's the 16-year-old stereotype, is just lighting people up. But I'm completely disgusted with you. I said a lot of other stuff. I wasn't really kind with my words. My mom cried. I'm really sorry. My actions ended up hurting a lot of people. It's something I live with every day. Just know that my actions don't define you. I told my mom to save her words. I never thought in a million years this would be the outcome. Okay, I mean, the way my grandma acts around me, how the only times I ever go to her house are on holidays when my younger siblings go to her house a lot more. I mean, this is just a sad story. I'm just leaving. I don't believe it necessarily to begin with, but I'm also just like, I don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. That's just a disaster. There's some great ones here, man. Am I the asshole for telling my wife not to clean so angrily? Oh, man. It's interesting start so far. Am I the asshole for telling my stepson's Bumble date that she should focus on her career and children rather than dating men like my stepson? I think this is just like a rule of thumb. This is a heuristic. Anytime you tell a woman at all, and I guess a man, but I feel like it happens a lot less often. But anytime you tell a woman to hurry up and have kids, you're really going to be operating from behind the 8 ball when it comes to being on the moral high ground. I think that that's very personal business. Oh, if she already has kids, then, well, maybe let's read through. Maybe let's just read then. For context, my 36-year-old this person's 36, they got a 19-year-old stepson. I don't know who to relate to. I'm okay, I guess I'm like basically the same age as the dad. All right. My stepson lives at home with my wife and I. Last weekend, I found a woman in my living room after I woke up in the morning. She had slept over in my stepson's room. My stepson was still asleep. He normally sleeps in late on the weekends. When I first came downstairs, she was crying on the phone. I proceeded to introduce myself. Hello there. I just picture that story. Hello, welcome to my home. I proceeded to introduce myself. She said she was on the phone with her mother, who was taking care of her son while she was staying over with my stepson. I proceeded to ask if she knew my stepson through his job, and she said they met through Bumble. Sorry, they met online. Bumble. We talked a bit more, and due to reasons I will explain, I ultimately told her that she should not be prioritizing dating, especially men like my stepson, and should instead focus on her career and spending more time with her son. Here's the thing. My stepson has been living with my wife and I since he graduated high school over a year ago. He's handsome, tall, and in shape due to his full-time work as a swimming instructor and lifeguard. Fucking asshole. Fucking sexy dickbag. Chad. Just picture him in his tight red shorts and his glistening body giving those swimming lessons. That's not me putting on a character, by the way. I'm mad. Since he graduated, he has brought numerous women over to our house, at least 20, but I have lost count now and not always aware due to working sporadic hours. Good for him, I guess. At first, my wife and I were surprised about how he was meeting them. He barely has enough time to date and uses most of his free time in his room playing video games. When we confronted him about it, he said he just uses online dating to set up dates and brings them to our house or drives to them. Why do you... This is just a simple question, I guess, from somebody that exists in between 36-year-old dad and 19-year-old stepson. Why do you need to confront your stepson for this? This is not... No. This is not as bad as security camera dad, who was like, you can't... If you don't get home by 11, just sleep on the street. This dad just seems like... I mean, maybe a little curious... I just don't understand why you got to confront your son for going on a lot of dates or, let's be honest, just making your basement sound like Animal Planet 3 or 4 times a week. Oh, okay, hold on. Last year he had 2 pregnancy scares, which he handled himself. Something tells me that there may have been another person involved in these pregnancy scares, but maybe that's just my theory. Furthermore, a few months ago, I noticed he kept bringing back 2 different women to our house in alternation. Although I've always been a monogamous long-term relationship type of guy, I understand the whole gist of young men sowing their wild oats. My wife doesn't seem to mind as long as it's safe. However, I feel like my stepson might not be being completely transparent with his dates, and I currently believe he's not a good candidate for young single mothers. You gotta get a hobby, my man. That's just crazy. What, do you want to be like his administrative assistant? Like, we know when you go into a doctor's office, you got to like fill out a form and do an interview with the front desk about why you're there. It's like, hey, welcome to my son's bedroom. If you could just take a seat right there, he'll be right with you. First, I just want you to know he does tend to bring back women in an alternating fashion. I do need to ask about you personally. Do you have any children? What are your career plans, etc., etc.? Am I in the wrong for interjecting and diverting this young single mother away from her current situation with my stepson? I believe that her son will greatly benefit from her taking a break with dating and spending more time with him. It's just none of your business. You are the asshole. For sure. It's not that big of a deal. Like, you're not a turbo asshole, but just like chill out. Like, it's not, you're not the person who controls everybody else's life and decisions, Just let them live their life. You can give advice, but you working as this weird like arbitrator of how people should spend their time is very strange. To clarify, the big weirdo energy. I will admit I have a protective urge when it comes to single mothers. Tell me you don't have like a t-shirt that says like, I don't even want to make it up, but it's like, if you mess with the queen, you have to deal with the king's army or something like that. Okay, so his wife has been in therapy due to abusive relationships. It's fair. While I'm not saying my stepson is abusive, I do not believe that the hookup culture he's engaging in is healthy for a young single mother with their whole future ahead of her. Children and career come first, in my opinion. I feel like a lot of people run into this confluence of confusion. You can have an opinion, that's no problem. It's when you start to not just tell it to other people, but act like you're coming from on high with this like advice. Plus, like, dude, you're 36. I don't know if you are of the opinion that makes you some grand old sage or something like that. You're still like basically a little kid. It's actually kind of, you and your child are basically peers. You're not yet, but in like 10 years, you're going to be the same age, which is, something to keep in perspective. You're in no position. Like, if it was like an 80-year-old grandma or something like that, and she's like, here's my advice, you would be like, first off, she's coming from a place of a lot of lived experience. But also, secondarily, like, you know, whatever, grandma, go back and watch Live with Michael Strahan or whatever, who's even on Live with Regis and Kelly now. You just gotta, you can, there's a difference between having an opinion. And my opinion is kind of, for the record, she can do whatever she wants. But I'm like, when you're a single mom, I'm not saying you can't have any fun. Well, no, I was going to say I agree with him a little, but I actually don't. There's, you can go out and have some fun if you have your child being handled responsibly by a babysitter. It doesn't, he has an assumption, I guess, in this post that is like she's going out all the time and getting, railed by random lifeguards and being an irresponsible parent. Most of the railing is probably happening past the child's bedtime anyway. There's no reason that those things can't be compatible with one another in a 24-hour day. It just seems like you could fit both of them in responsibly and still be like a good parent. Anyway, yeah, you're the asshole. The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, it's just weird that you. This seems like the kind of guy he becomes like he's Dwight Schrute, right? Like he's Dwight Schrute, and his son is Jim Halpert, and now Michael Scott is allowing him to have the smallest modicum of power over his son, and he's like, "Are you sure you should be doing all that fucking?" Like it's just weird. Don't date my son if you want a long-term relationship. Okay, great, very honest. Don't date at all, be a mother, you're the asshole. That's definitely true. Okay, yeah, I know. User received gold for this post. Shooting stars, Reddit silver, Dutes, really? You're the asshole? Who are you to assume she doesn't spend enough time with her son because she spent a single night at someone else's? Absolutely true, yes. You're the asshole. Single mothers are allowed to date and even have one-night stands. You want to warn her that your stepson is a frick boy? Go right ahead. That's true. Yeah. You could be like, hey, my stepson's kind of a piece of garbage. It makes you kind of an asshole. Instead of doing that, you're like, you should be a better mom. That's a little... Not the asshole, but situations like this. Oh no, it's the realtor. You're not the asshole. Source dude, just trust me. But situations like this are beyond uncomfortable. If I were you, I would not let the stepson bring flings over. Look, okay? He's 19 years old. In the economic reality of 2021 is very different than it was in like 1952, okay? In 1952, the window of time where somebody was capable of making an informed decision about copulating, and also the window of which they were able to maybe get their own property, or at least like move out on their own, there was probably like it's a narrow window of a couple of years. Nowadays, people are, with real estate prices so insane, rents so insane, COVID to begin with. I mean, COVID broke out when this guy was like 17 years old, maybe. Kids are not going to be leaving home until they're in their mid-20s, maybe later. You got to come up with some kind of situation, like some kind of agreement in the hotel of mom and dad to allow this stuff to happen. Otherwise, I think you're just being kind of ignorant at this point. Like, it's gonna happen. This is like South Korea, which is like the only other country I'm familiar with, has the same thing going on where like you're not supposed to stay over with your boyfriend or girlfriend until you're married, but that's like not realistic. So instead they go out to like karaoke rooms, DVD bongs, which is like where you go and watch a movie and then you just do it in there, and then some poor like minimum wage staff has to clean up your stain instead of the way God intended, which is that your mom finds it when she washes your sheets 4 days later. Like, just get over it. It's just the idea that you would be like, you can't bring prospective romantic partners over is just like complete denialism to me, at least. I don't understand. Big +2. Oh, thank you, thank you. It felt good when the metal straw hits. Oh man. Oh, you're the asshole. You're the asshole. No, I want to see some psychos, man. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. Why was she crying? Also, you're the asshole. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. Info. Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. Oof, you're the asshole? I just hate to... This is a flashpoint issue that causes a lot of disagreement, which is fine, okay? This is a safe place to disagree. But I am always surprised at the amount of people who are like, if it makes you uncomfortable, ask him to keep it out of the house. And then somebody else replies, this is the best comment. If OP is uncomfortable with his son bringing strangers into the home, he needs to take it up with him, not the strangers. The his house, his rules stuff, like, I do get it. And I just disagree when it's like your child. I'm not saying that your child should be allowed to like do arson in the home or, you know, consistently bring home sketchy strangers who like rob you. But it's so why is so much of Am I the Asshole like disputes about real estate as if like you're the king of the castle instead of situations that are like, you know, everybody in this house has to live under one roof. We've all got to, you know, that's what it's like to live with other people in Castle Ravani. Exactly. You do some shit, I guarantee you, that annoys the hell out of your son, okay? You probably mow the lawn at like 7:40 a.m. on a Sunday or something like that. But you just get to go, you know, my house, my rules. And then your son he's not even causing you any problems based on your post. He's just, you know, laying pipe and maybe you're a little bit jealous or something like that. And now you're blowing up his spot constantly. And then not only blowing up his spot, but then telling his romantic partners to be better mothers. Like everybody's gotta get along in these situations. Why is it always like, well, my name's on the deed, so I will enforce my will on this domicile? Like, just homeowners don't be like weird tyrants 2021 challenge. I mean, I pay the mortgage. I get my way in my own house like 20% of the time. I'm thankful for it. I'm just out here trying to survive, man. You'd be fine if your daughter in 19 years brought back the whole band of Nickelback? Look, it's easy to say in principle. We could not make that. There would be a space problem. It wouldn't be on immoral grounds or taste or anything like that. We don't live in a place that's large enough to sustain what would at that point be 8 adults? When you include my family, this place cannot fit 8 people. You can do it like one at a time, maybe over the course of a week, do some kind of rotation or something like that, but not simultaneously. It's not like a permission thing. It's more that like I don't want to have to like ask Chad Kroger to like, oh no, I'm going that way. Hey Chad, I know you're standing in front of the fridge like doing a text, but like I need to move. I need to get some water from the fridge, right? Like. Cut his mic. Okay. Am I the asshole for asking my wife not to clean so angrily? I love this. I love this because I think that I can relate already. And I love it even more because he has been judged in the way that I judge myself. Oh, this is a recurring issue that happens regularly, often leads to fights. Last night it happened again. My wife is a bit of a neat freak. Her cleaning standards are definitely higher than mine. I've tried to adapt and clean more often. It's not a problem for me. I don't mind cleaning most of the time. The issue is that it's hard to predict when messes will set her off and send her into a spiral of angry cleaning. Here's what happened yesterday. We got back from a trip to Costco. We're both exhausted. I unload the car and put the perishables away before I leave but I leave everything else out to take care of later. Then I go to decompress and play video games before bed. All right, let me tell you, brother, we take it from a wise old sage at age 32. Everything up to this point, you have some defensibility. You've got a lot of sympathy. However, as soon as you, and I know what you're going to say in response to this because I have the conversation with myself, okay? When you're putting the groceries away, you got to do the whole thing, okay? You can't, because it's a shot along the bow to put half of the groceries away and leave the other half out. Because what you're saying basically is, I've already done enough. It's your time now to do this other 50%. The way that this accounting, the credits and the debits of household work do in a married household is that you do the whole chore and then you mentally keep track of it and you go, I put the groceries away. I did the whole thing. I get one chore credit, and then you have discussions about how to exchange those credits and settle the accounts later. If, like, here's the thing. If my wife was like, we need to vacuum and mop this weekend, and then she did half of the vacuuming at her own convenience and then knocked on my office door and gave me the vacuum and was like, your turn, I would be upset. Because I'm like, basically you're saying like you chose when it gets done and then you're forcing me to do it when you want me to do it. Instead, you vacuum everything and then later you go, hey, I vacuumed, you can mop now, and I mop when it fits nicely into my day. Otherwise, because if you leave half of the groceries out, you did half of a chore, but you also left a mess when you didn't have to. You instead of making the place clean, which is the goal for a neat person, you left the place messy in order for the chores to be done in an equitable fashion, which is like putting the cart before the horse. And I say that as somebody who's been there many times. I know everyone's like, capitalist marriage sounds exhausting. Tell me you got 25 yellow McDonald's paper fillet of fish wrappers on your office or bedroom floor without telling me. Tell me you got a bunch of empty soda bottles on your floor without telling me you got a bunch of empty soda bottles on your floor. I have 10 empty water bottles in my room. Oh, man. Not me. It's maybe like 3 or 4. But I leave everything else out to take care of later. Then I go to decompress and play video games before bed. Look, I'm not policing his enjoyment. But sometimes I do this too. I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I just need to play some video games before bed just to relax. Then I'm on Rocket League like, wow, 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 wow. Nice shot. Nice shot. Wow, what a save. Wow. Sorry, honey, I can't do the chores. I'm just decompressing. Wow, wow. Anyway. The thing that set my wife off was a moldy piece of fruit on the counter. Understand? It's a caffeine burp. I apologize. Understandable. It's gross. It should just be thrown away, right? It's not so simple. Something tells me that this runs a little deeper than they had originally alluded to. My wife gardens and she hates just throwing things away. She has several different compost bins. And she likes to save fruit seeds to grow them. She's gotten upset with me before for throwing away old fruit she was saving for something, so I hadn't thrown away this piece of fruit that she put there because I wanted to check with her to see what she wanted to do with it. So she goes to the kitchen for something, sees the moldy fruit in the boxes, and decides the kitchen is a mess. She starts to angry clean. I can hear her in the living room, huffing and puffing and slamming things. I feel like an asshole because now I'm playing video games while my exhausted wife cleans the whole kitchen, but I really wanted to just relax, go to bed, and take care of everything the next day. Anyway, I suck it up, go to the kitchen to try to convince my wife to just go to bed and let me clean everything. I tell her basically that it's really stressful when she angry cleans, and I think she needs a better way to manage her anger. Ooh. The best laid plans of mice and men. She gets more upset, and we have our standard fight. Am I the asshole here? I feel like it's reasonable to point out how the way my wife copes with stress and anger doesn't ever seem to make her less stressed and angry. And when she radiates anger when she's upset, it's really stressful to be around her. Okay. Like, I get that is frustrating. Like, genuinely. But I think you gotta put yourself in her shoes for like at least 5 seconds and be like, you like it, you're wired in a certain way. You want things to always be clean and tidy. They're not clean and tidy, and it seems like it's because your husband was like, I can just put away this stuff tomorrow. I'm gonna go play some video games. Which is true. Like, you could still put them away tomorrow, don't get me wrong. But you could also just nut it up for like 5 seconds and put them away then, and then play the video games 5 minutes later, okay? But that notwithstanding, like, if you put yourself in her shoes, right? She's mad that she has to put some extra stuff away. She's mad that it's unclean, so she starts to clean herself. By the way, I can't say this for certain, but I'm going to imagine that maybe she is passive-aggressively cleaning a little bit and making more noise than, would be necessary. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit of the husband's guilt manifesting itself as, like, when she makes noise while cleaning, it's because she wants me to feel bad that I didn't do the thing that deep down I know that I probably should have done to begin with. So maybe I'm putting my own projection on. There's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B is my expectation. But either way, the wrong time to be like, hey, honey, I don't think it's healthy for you to get your anger out by doing cleaning. The wrong time to bring that up is when she's in the middle of cleaning, because like it or not, I'm not saying this is fair, but if your way of decompressing from stress is cleaning, you have a huge moral high ground. What are people going to be like? Oh, stop blowing off steam, making the dishes spick and span? Like, that's, you really need to come at that situation from a delicate position, because of the fact that she's basically doing combined household labor as a way of getting her stress out. So she's going to be like probably a little bit annoyed with you that she felt like she had to clean. But at the same time, it's like telling someone who's already a little upset to calm down, right? It's like you can't expect that to work. It's just like throwing gasoline onto the fire. But also, I know that this, like, we're getting back into like the capitalist marriage Lamau point, but like, you gotta just put the groceries away. I do that myself all the time. Like, I rationalize it myself because my wife and I have different standards of cleanliness. And over time, I've slowly moved in her direction, but it's like, it's a learning process, and it happens through habit. Like, there were times when I was like a bachelor, I would do the same thing. You get home from the grocery store, you put your ice cream in the freezer, you leave the other groceries on your counter for like a week. Who cares? And then rather than take 2 minutes to put the groceries away, you'd rather get in like a 15-minute argument about it, right? Oh, sure. Let me waste all my time moving the crackers from the counter to the cabinet, where then when I want them, I'll take them from the cabinet and then put it on the counter. That seems like a really good use of my time. But then, like, when you get older, you're like, I'm just going to do it because it like looks nice. It just like, it's the right thing to do. It looks tidy. Like, is the point of, there's like a fundamental psychological difference, I think, between neat people and dirty people. Let's not say dirty, even though I can't count myself in that group. Let's say untidy. Use whatever word you want to use for it, okay? I look at chores as a list of things that have to be done, If I vacuum on Sunday and then I see cat hair on Monday, my brain goes, I'll get it next Sunday, right? I vacuumed yesterday. I'm not going to vacuum again. You know, the point of vacuuming is so that I can get it done and then like live my life. Neat people, on the other hand, see cleanliness or tidiness as an ideal state to be maintained as much as is conceivably possible without compromising your quality of life too much. And it's the fundamental conflict, I think, comes from those two people, or those two differences in opinion. Like for me, and I'm speaking frankly here, I vacuumed yesterday. Sometimes, like, I'll vacuum on a Sunday, and then I'll hear the vacuum going on Monday, and I'm like, my first thought is like, why the hell did I even vacuum yesterday if Kate's just going to vacuum today? Like, I could have saved 20 minutes by not vacuuming yesterday if she's going to vacuum today. But then her, like, viewpoint of this situation is, now that like the vacuuming has been done, everything is clean, it only takes a little bit of extra effort to keep things clean. When I see cat hair, I'll just vacuum it up and it takes 10 minutes. You know, it's just differences in opinion. What you should not do is, you know, go to first off, go to Reddit, but then also like, I don't know, like when she's in the middle of cleaning, to be like, why? Please stop cleaning. That's not the right time to bring that up. You gotta know you're getting into a disastrous bit of territory there. Also, like, I don't know. Like, I am not like an alpha male. I do not impose my will in this household very often. But there is a part of me that's like, you gotta at least like grow a little bit of a backbone for your marriage's sake in this situation. Like, it's not so simple to just throw out a moldy piece of fruit. My wife gardens and she hates just throwing things away. She likes to save fruit seeds to grow them. She's gotten upset at me before for throwing away old fruit she was saving for something. Okay, that's where you gotta say, like, are you really mad at me for throwing away this moldy ass apricot? Like, you at that point you gotta be like, this is garbage. If you want it, do something with it. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to throw away stuff that's obviously gone bad. You got to at least stand up for yourself a little bit in a situation like this. Also, like, okay, I threw out your apricot. I'll just go to the store and get you another apricot and let it go bad. Like, big deal. You just got to talk it out, man. Like, that's kind of crazy. Or, yeah, it'd take 2 seconds to be like, hey, do you want these seeds? Anyway, look, I can relate to this guy, but he is definitely the asshole. It's just because I can see myself in the post doesn't mean he's not the asshole in this situation. I think this is one of those things where when you read it from his perspective, you're like, it seems like you might be the asshole, but also simultaneously, I can understand where you're coming from. I bet if you heard it from her perspective, he would wither like a freaking raisin, man. I bet her perspective is like, my lazy ass husband, we got home from Costco, we're both tired, I went to clean the bathrooms, he put away half of the groceries, which took like 30 seconds, and then I saw him playing Rocket League on the PC with like 8 bags of groceries from Costco just staring me in the face. So obviously I got upset because things were messy, and then I went to tidy, and he was like, oh, don't tidy, it makes me feel bad, because it makes me feel like I didn't do my part. You know, it's like, again, I'm the OP, basically. I'm just saying, OMG, stop cleaning, lol. I'm just saying, you gotta, if you read it from her perspective, I bet that this reads a little bit less generously. But I gotta see how this looks, man. I gotta see how this looks. Whew. Neither one of you are assholes, but you suck at communicating. Yeah, okay, you're a normal person. Congratulations. Dude, if you would have just said to your wife, Hey, I'm going to put that stuff away tomorrow and go unwind before bed. That cool with you? Oh, and hey, about that piece of fruit right there. Or if she would have said, hey, can you pause and help me finish up the kitchen so I can relax by not having a fucked up kitchen? Then this shit would not have escalated, but you both screwed up by not talking to each other. Yeah, this seems fair. Where's OP? This is just if React Court could have like one lesson, it would really, from my perspective, it would be you need to recognize that just because the person wrote the account, that doesn't mean you have all the information in like both perspectives. It's like, I hate when people write this. The problem is people usually get to the point of OP's wife when talking doesn't work. Like you don't know that. There's like 6 billion people on 7 billion people on the planet. Like there's a lot of people are uniquely weird in their own ways. Like you read like 3 paragraphs and you're like, I've met this person in my real life. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, just chill, man. Anyway, oh, I angry clean. I angry clean because we've had the conversation multiple times. The conversation about doing an equal load. The conversation about how I'd also prefer to rest when I get in or get up. The conversation about doing these tasks when they need to be done and how it makes both our lives better. I angry clean because it solves the immediate problem, and maybe when I get a chance to rest, I can think about having the conversation again. You're the asshole. Oof. I told you that it would look different from the wife's perspective. So if it's a non-perishable, when does it need to get put away? If it's just in your head that it has to be done right away, you can't be mad at someone else about that. The fact is you want it put away right away. I live in a cube. I eat all my meals off of a paper towel on the floor. Why the society tells you need tables and chairs, cabinets and cupboards. Nah, drawers? Are you crazy? I leave everything easily outlaid in a 16 by 16 grid on the floor. I know exactly where everything is. And every time. Why leave stuff on the counter? Why not just complete the task? Not everyone has the energy to just, yet, honey, look, Chad, I don't want to be like canceled for this, okay? I'm not suggesting mental illness doesn't exist, merely that in any post, whenever anybody has any like piece of bad behavior, it's just a timer until it gets attributed to something that they can't control. It's never like I don't want to do this thing, and even that's okay if I would just talk about it. It's always like, actually, not everyone has the energy to just do it. I don't know OP or his situation. Why not just complete the task? OP? I don't know OP or his situation, but anyway. Sorry, it's just Twitter poisoning. You know, you make like a joke and then somebody's like, well, actually, maybe the people at Best Buy couldn't stock the shelves because they're depressed. And I'm like, I'm not trying to insult the people who work at Best Buy. I was merely making a joke about the system's design of the online pickup order system, okay? It didn't have to go in that direction. Am I the asshole for, hold on. We could put a slash marker here, excuse me. Slash marker, React Court 1.